be here till 6:30, but they must have finished up early, so we had the room earlier. That's why we've had to push the meeting to 7 o'clock, and we open the doors at 6:45 to give them enough time to clean the room and set it up. We're still wearing masks. Horry County said we're still wearing masks, so we're socially distancing, so I thank you all. I know this is a whole new world, so we'll just roll with it. It's 7 o'clock. I'd like to introduce or welcome everybody to the first Civic Association meeting we've had since February. So this is a treat for us all. I mean, we're all excited to be back together again. I'm Carol Van Sickler. I'm president of the Carolina Forest Civic Association. My board members are Michael Ritchie, vice president, Norm Fay, our treasurer back there, Sean Sines, our secretary, Peter Struthers, our director at large, and in the back we have Beth Ballou, and Woody Wood. I keep screwing that up. I just can't get that right. Woody, our director at large. I want to have a call to order, a salute to the flag, and a moment of silence. And I'm going to ask everyone to turn your cell phones to silence so they don't ring during our time together. Ready? We'll do the salute to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And a moment of silence for our servicemen, past, present, and future. Okay, thank you. Do we have any business members here that I didn't recognize? Current members of the association? Okay, well, we'll get you a membership form. Yes. How many people are here for the first time? Wow, right. That Excellent. Is great. What made you come out tonight? Me. Really? Were you coming the first time? This is your community. This is your network, your forum. This is your opportunity to be able to be together and express your concerns, your interests, what we can do together as a community. We welcome you. We encourage you. We want you to go back to your HOAs or your homes and next time bring a neighbor, bring a friend, and tell your board to get involved, because the best way we can do things for this community is to work together as a team. So anything that you have going on affects all of us in one way, shape, or form. And you've seen while I'm talking and I'm standing in my own space, I'm going to take the mask down. You've seen what COVID has done to all of us and what we're all enduring. But we're gonna get through this one way or the other. And by communicating with us, and this is your forum again, this is the way to do it. Okay.
Can I interject real quick? All those people that are brand new, would you mind just telling us how you heard about this particular meeting? Let's get some feedback on what's working and how to get the word out there a little bit better. Facebook? Awesome. Anybody else?
My husband.
How did you hear about it though? Email?
Yeah,
okay.
Charlie's been a long time.
All right. Anybody else?
Board members.
I'll pay you later, Wolf. All right, cool. Thank you.
Okay. Well, great. We're going to, even though this is our first meeting in a while, we're going to skip the business side of it. We wanted to talk about issues here for us. We want to have our two candidates for the November 3rd election to be able to speak tonight. And we want to encourage you, if you haven't been already early voting, we understand the library's been processing people in large numbers every day. Our numbers for Carolina Forest should be off the chart for this election. And this idea of open voting or early voting, whatever they want to call it, I think is an encouragement. There's no reason now why somebody doesn't get out and vote unless they didn't register, and you should have registered, because your vote is your voice. Anything you want to add?
Nope.
Okay.
Sound good.
So we've talked about getting out and voting.
You know what, Carol, actually, can I pass these out?
Okay.
Hey guys, I'm gonna come around, just hand out some of these cards here. If you guys have any questions for the candidates or anything like that, please keep them respectful, but go ahead and fill those out, and I'll swing around and pick them up for you, and then we'll ask questions, okay?
This is not, this is not a debate. This is
Anybody wants
not,
one, let me know.
we're gonna keep this
Questions?
as an open forum to allow our candidates to speak about their platforms and what they can do and should and are doing for us. Okay.
Yes, sir. Yep.
Next month, November 18th is our next meeting. Our next meeting will be our annual 2020 annual meeting. We will have our financials for the fiscal year 19 into 20. Our fiscal year starts October 1st and ends September 30th. So we'll have the 2020 results at the November meeting. We're also going to be having our own election. We have 4 seats on the board of directors that's coming up for renewal. There are 4. The board is currently filled. The 4 seats that are coming up for election are currently held by Michael, which is the next election will be a 2-year term. Let's see, there's Michael, Beth, Woody, and then and Warm Fay has a 1-year term. So it's 2-year, 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 and a 1-year term. Okay? If you would like to volunteer to become a member of the board of directors, we invite you to participate. We're also looking for people to chair our various committees. You can go on our website and you can see the committees we have, and you can, nominate, send an email to the board of directors as to why you would like to join the board of directors and how you can help make our community better, and add anything that you feel is pertinent. Anyone running for the open seats or anyone running for election must be a fully certified paid member of the organization. So just, if you're not sure if you are or not, Norm and Beth have the membership lists at the back of the room. Okay. The only committee meeting we're having tonight is we're getting an update on the Santee Cooper pole leasing issue. And we have with us tonight Bob Sweet, who's been chairing that volunteer committee, to give us an update. So, Bob?
Thanks, Carol. And I'll try to keep 6 feet. If maybe you can just scoot your chair a little bit that way, and I'll stay over here.
Okay.
Then I'm going to go ahead and pull my mask down, and I'll put it back up when I'm finished here. How many of you were here for the February meeting, or perhaps a meeting at the end of 2019 when I was giving an update about this initiative? Several of you are familiar with this already. Many of you are. I'm pleased to tell you that in the inner months since we've been meeting here, since February, there's been some significant difference. Fasten safety belts, because I'm only going to take a few minutes to hit the highlights of this. We don't want to take the time from our candidates who want to address this as well. The initiative was began in November of 2018 when we formed a committee there at Carolina Forest, and we had a community meeting with the representatives of 15 Carolina Forest HOAs in July of 2019, what we did. Now, a lot of information was loaded shortly after that onto the CFCA website, and for just to remind you, you'll be hearing several people say it, it's cf-ca.org. When you go on there, go to Issues of the Forest, you can see a lot of information that we've uploaded there, documents, emails back and forth, frequently asked questions, a lot of other information that will bring you up to speed on where we are, and we've updated that just within the last several weeks. There's a strong advocate and an enthusiastic partner that has joined us from the Pawleys Island. He's a member of the Heritage Plantation HOA, a retired executive from a Fortune 100 company, and he has been extraordinarily helpful and a very good advocate. Doug Decker is his name, and we've been working closely with him he has corralled around him other HOAs. There are now about 50 HOAs down there in the Pawleys Island, Georgetown area. And they've garnered a lot of attention. They've put up their own website and are really being strong advocates and really have helped us along. There are two catalysts that have spurred some of the recent activity that we've been finding that has spurred Santee Cooper to reconsider its prior position where they refused to consider any thoughts of transferring ownership of the streetlights and poles to a community, citing a South Carolina code saying it did not permit it. However, two things have really encouraged them to reconsider their thing. First of all, Representative Tim McGinnis, who's with us tonight, has been working with us. He is probing. He wants to enter it with a very open mind, not pre-positioned either way, but he has agreed, if necessary, to sponsor a bill that would come up in the next legislative session. That bill is it's published online. It's a draft bill, and it's on the website. You can take a look at that. Now, it may be that that bill will not be necessary. We'll talk about that in a minute. Another catalyst was Georgetown Councilman John Thomas's letter to the South Carolina Attorney General, spurred by his reviewing our literature and talking with me, looking at a lot of the stuff on the website. He then cited some of our material from here at Plantation Lakes in a letter to the Attorney General and said, would you please, Attorney General, give us an interpretation of this South Carolina code? Does it really apply? We've not gotten the official report back from that, but it was shortly after that letter that we did receive a letter from Santee Cooper dated September the 14th. And it said in part, Santee Cooper has developed a new opinion that Santee Cooper may sell lighting fixtures to neighborhoods, and legislation in this regard is not necessary. Well, what is being prepositioned by Tim McGinnis and spoken of by other representatives and senators is having an effect. So they were willing to come to the table. We did sit down with them on October the 14th, quite recently, at their headquarters. There were 7 representatives from HOAs, 7 officials from Santee Cooper, and 2 legislators, Representative Tim McGinnis, and we had Senator Stephen Goldfinch, who was there representing Georgetown County. We had our representative from Horry County. It was a very productive 3-hour meeting. It was apparent that Santee Cooper at least wants to create the impression that they're listening and very open. They took copious notes. We asked them at the end of the session, would they please come back and give us specific information in several areas that deals with our accounts with them and information that we need to better understand what are the true costs of moving this forward. They agreed to get that to us within a week, and then we all agreed at the meeting that we would meet in November, and the date is yet to be established. But we are encouraged by this. We are cautiously optimistic, but the real fruit of this will be in their responses and then in what occurs at the next meeting in November. But I would say the logjam has been broken, and we are now in serious discussions with them, and I'm very appreciative to everybody in this community here, as well as in the Georgetown area, that's helped make that happen to us. There's a statement that was released to the press, and it basically said, it spoke to this cautious optimism that we have, and we are looking forward to that next meeting. I will be remaining behind after this meeting is over with tonight. If anyone has specific questions, we'll elbow bump, we'll have our masks on, we'll keep 6 feet of separation, but I'll be happy to answer other questions that you might have then. Back to you.
Great, thank you. This pole leasing issue, if you all understood how much it was costing each and every one of your HOAs, how much you've been paying for years and years and years, and the idea that developers build these communities and then work a deal out with Santee Cooper to let them have the poles, and then they're gonna charge the HOA into, my favorite word, perpetuity. We found out in one development, and it's actually Waterford Plantation, one year was $18,000 in leasing costs. That's not electricity, that's the fixture and the pole. So it costs every community money, and it's money that you all, or we all could use to have other things in our communities. So this is a very important topic. We thank Bob Sweet and his volunteers, everything that they have been spearheading and the support we're getting from Tim and Stephen Goldfinch. So yes, stay in contact. If you have more questions, please see Bob after this.
As far as money's concerned, I think you can confirm this, but she says $18,000, that's a lot of money, but
That's one
if I'm not mistaken, in Plantation Lakes, you guys have paid over $1 million.
1.4 million.
$1.4 million.
For
in
poles, and we
costs.
pay $7,700
Well, I
a
said that
month.
18,000 was 1 year. I mean, we didn't
Right,
go
right.
back.
We pay over 92,000 a year just to lease the poles and lights, right?
Yeah. So,
18,000 was 1 month, Carol.
Oh, 1 month.
1 month. But I do have a question for Bob real quick.
Sorry.
When, Bob, when you were talking, you said they're subject to selling the fixtures. Does that include the pole? Because your rental fees are broken out into fixtures and poles.
Yes, in answer to the question, which for the record was, does that include the poles, lights, and so forth? It's a whole infrastructure. It's the lights, it's the poles, and it's the wiring infrastructure below the ground that services those outdoor lights.
So it's the whole thing.
Mhm.
Sorry, I forgot month versus year. Okay. Neighborhood events, we remind everyone that Beautified Carolina Forest picks up. Betsy, what are the dates? The month?
It'll be in November the 2nd, Friday, Saturday, Sunday of the month. I think it's the 9th, 10th, and 11th, I think, but don't quote me on those dates. This past month, the last 2 months, we've had a bunch of children come from Scholars Academy to pick with us. And this past month, we picked up 162 bags of trash. So that's not good because we were picking about 100 bags, but we did pick up some new areas that we had never picked before because we had enough volunteers to pick. So, so we probably picked up some places that hadn't been done in forever, and that keeps us really busy. We're also going to be doing some mulching and looking for volunteers. I'm not sure the exact date yet. It'll be in November. We're going to be mulching the Garden Lacey medians.
Okay. If anyone has questions on Beautified Carolina Forest, you can type it into your browser and get into their link. All right, do we have anything else that we wanted to bring up?
I just wanted to touch, earlier Carol talked about the website and stuff. If you guys have not been to the website yet, it is a treasure trove of information. Not only the stuff that we post on there, but as well as the links that we have to local governments. Our goal, one of our missions, is to facilitate communication between you all and local governments, which is why we have local politicians here today. We have, especially Carol has a lot of contact with other local politicians and so forth. If you want to know what's going on in our community, you got to go to that website.
Yeah, and I forgot this mask thing. We have with us tonight Horry County District 2, Bill Howard, who drops in and visits and shares what's happening with our Horry County government. Do we have any other special guests that I missed? The mask thing throws us all off. Okay. Anything else? Like I said, we wanted to keep this very brief and very to the point so we can get to the meat of our meeting tonight. Anything else?
No, I'll come around in just a moment and grab those questions for you if you
Okay.
got them ready.
What we're gonna do is we're gonna turn the meeting over to our candidates for House District 56, Tim McGinnis and Dr. Bruce Fisher. We're gonna have each candidate have 7 minutes to present their platform. We've asked for pre-submitted questions, and that's why you've got the cards. We're trying to reduce the number of questions. If it's the same question, we're gonna keep it to those topics, but we wanna try to hit as many topics as possible. And both gentlemen are available for any questions you have afterwards. Did I miss anything? Okay. So, Want to start,
Are we doing questions during, or are we just? doing
wait until
the
they
questions,
finish and then the questions at the end?
Pre-submitted questions, okay.
Yeah. Okay, I didn't draw cards or whatever. Anyone want to volunteer to go first? Dr. Fisher, Tim, I mean, do I have to guess a number? I want this friendly, I want us to be able to have like a fireside chat. Is that a good idea?
Works for me.
Dr. Fisher, go first.
I'll take it, Ed.
Okay, we're gonna go alphabetically. Dr. Fisher goes first, okay.
You want me to stand up here? You want to stand up here? and-
Stand wherever you feel comfortable. We're not using a microphone because of, the camera.
We're just recording the session. Now, if it's desired to turn the camera off during this, we can do either. But we can record it as well for people who are not here, but would have liked to have heard the presentation. Where we hope to be able to load this, we don't know for sure we'll be able to, but we hope to load it onto the website. So people, as though they were attending. they'd be able
Then
to-
yes, if you would please, just come up here.
Certainly.
Just welcome them
It's
to the
a
club.
new world.
Okay, with the virus, I don't get to speak to live people very often, at least not this time around. My name is Bruce Fisher. I am a retired psychologist. And I'm an Army veteran. We have a couple of old helicopter pilots here tonight. The first thing I wanted to address tonight is the issue of gerrymandering. Something that's been around since 1812, when Mr. Gary, it should actually be called gerrymandering, not gerrymandering. They messed up the pronunciation somewhere along the line. But our country is in the midst of some monstrous gerrymandering going on. Both parties have been doing it for over 200 years now. All right? I think it's about time that we reach out across the aisle and come up with a plan, some kind of independent commission to draw the redistricting lines so that, right now, I'm a Democrat, and I think the Republicans have gerrymandered too much. Well, someday the Democrats might be in the majority, and the Republicans will be saying, you guys are gerrymandering too much. Let's take the politics out of it if we can. Some sort of independent commission. I've seen a few proposals. Most of them still have a strong political component to them. But if we can make an improvement, it may not be perfect, but an improvement, I think we ought to try to do that. All right? Some other issues are important to me. Later on we'll find out what's really important to you guys. Flooding. Not so much of an issue here in the Carolina Forest area, but other areas in the district have been hit by monumental flooding. 300-year floods in the past 6 years. People have lost their homes. My home has never been flooded, but on 2 occasions I couldn't get out of my development for 4 days. It was just too flooded, I couldn't get out. I think what we need to do is listen to some real experts. I have my own couple of ideas about what's gone wrong and what to do to correct things to some limited extent at least. But let's listen to the experts, people who understand hydrology and stormwater mitigation, instead of listening to lay people. I don't think that's going to work real well. All right? Just one example that I keep coming back to is if you've looked around the area at new developments under construction, without exception, they're clear cut. How much water does a mature tree soak up? All right? I want to listen to experts tell me that, so maybe we can drastically reduce the amount of clear cutting that goes on. All right? But again, it comes down to experts. The same way with COVID. Right? I really don't want to listen to politicians like myself telling people what we should and shouldn't be doing. I want to hear from the experts. As a psychologist, I was trained in science. Right? Science does not claim to have the ultimate answers to anything. right? Science is a process. You experiment, you observe, and whatever fits the data is what you conclude for the time being, at least, until more data comes in that may contradict that. It's an evolving process, right? So let's take the best information that we have today and do something with it. I don't have that information for COVID any more than I have it for flooding, but there are experts out there who do. Let's start listening to them. We have a problem in this country, and here in South Carolina as well, with gun violence. We tend to focus on the mass shootings that have happened. And I'm not shy about telling you I've shed some tears over some of these mass shootings, especially with children involved. But that's only a small part, a very small part, of the gun violence situation in this country. On average, 100 people a day are killed by gun violence in this country. Let that sink in for a moment. 100 people a day. What most people have no idea about is that approximately 2/3 of those gun violence deaths are suicide. It's not somebody driving down the street taking pot shots at somebody else. It's not even drug deals gone bad. Suicide, 2/3. And I'm sorry, that's, as a psychologist, that just tears me apart. We need better mental health. When I was in practice here in Horry County, if people didn't want to come to my office, they'd ask me for a referral. I didn't have a referral to give them. We don't have psychiatrists, we don't have licensed psychologists, not nearly in the numbers that we need. Now, I'm not saying that some of the counselors that we have are not good. My only question is, I don't know if they're any good. All right? We need to expand our mental health system and the coverage that will allow people to access that system. All right? We're not going to solve gun violence completely in this country. Given the Second Amendment to the Constitution and how difficult it is to amend the Constitution, that amendment is going to stay there. I know that. I think you all know that. Nobody wants to take guns away from people except in extraordinary circumstances.
Dr. Fisher, I can give you one more minute, please.
Time flies when you're having fun.
We're doing 7 minutes because we got a lot of questions.
Yes, ma'am. Okay. So what else? Now you make me...
I'm sorry, I'm distracted.
That's all right. Okay. Healthcare in general. Here in South Carolina, if we were to accept Medicaid expansion, there are currently 194,000 people who would qualify today. And the federal government's going to pay 90% of the bill. State would pay 10%, but we'd get most of that money, if not all of it, right back in the taxes paid on all the money that would then be circulating through the economy. I see no reason at all why anyone should not want to accept the Medicaid expansion under the Affordable Care Act.
Okay. So,
Is that my time?
yeah, I'm sorry, yes.
Thank you all for being here tonight.
Dr. Fisher.
And let's welcome him to the front as well.
Oh, thank you. We're all far enough away from each other. Thank you. I'm Tim McGinnis. I've represented District 56. I'm just going to go quick here and try to nail some bullet points. But I'm Tim McGinnis. I represented District 56 for the past 3 years. So I am technically a redshirt freshman. This will end my freshman year. Hopefully you all will give me a sophomore year. I've learned a lot since I've been up there. It's been an honor representing District 56 from Arrowhead out to Highway 90, Carolina Forest, of course, being right here in the middle of everything. Growth is incredible, I don't have to tell you. There are a lot of things that when I went up there I really wanted to do. I was told by Horry County Council, because one of the big things is, as developers move in and we hear about new neighborhoods, it seems like almost every other day we hear about a new shopping center that's coming our way. We need to take care of the infrastructure that is so desperately needed here. It's great to see that the county is widening Carolina Forest Boulevard. I think they've done an excellent job. It's gone very quickly. It can't be finished soon enough, but we need more. And I think that's going to come through developers' fee, or impact fees, fees on developers as they build. They need to take responsibility for the impact that they make. I was told before I went up there that Horry County couldn't do it because the law wouldn't allow them. So I went up to Columbia and I said, tell me about the law, what do we need to do to it? They told me, well, the law does three big things. It says that you have to spend the money within a certain amount of time, you have to spend it in the area where the impact is done, and you have to spend it on certain things like drainage, roadways, police stations, things like that. I said the law doesn't need to be changed. That's exactly what we need here. Horry County, to their credit, is now going through with it. I believe that you're going to be seeing developers being charged impact fees very soon if they're not already being charged them. Real quick, Bill, are you doing it yet?
Not yet.
But you're going to do it.
We held off because of COVID.
Okay. Going to accept that excuse for so long because those developers aren't holding on. But anyway, so that's a big thing, and I'm glad that that's getting done. Other things that are happening in our area, how many people here live in the western part of Carolina Forest? I'm talking about the Waterford area, Clear Pond, Myrtle Beach National. Only Carroll? Okay. Big thing is water. And you're paying way too much for water. You're paying double, I don't have to tell you, but they're paying double, almost triple what other customers in Horry County are paying. I don't think it's fair. The reason they're doing it is because of a contract that dates back many years. It's they're getting their water from the city of Conway. The rest of us, we get our water from Grand Strand Water and Sewer. The city of Conway did not build the infrastructure. They don't service the lines. They print the bills, and they charge their customers double, some people almost triple, I understand. And there's no representation on the Grand Strand Water Sewer Board for them, and there's no representation on the City of Conway City Council for them. Not fair. A bill that I have planned to pre-file, I actually have it. It'll be filed as soon as pre-filing opens. It will require cities that provide water to customers outside their jurisdiction not to charge any more than their customers who live within their jurisdiction. And it will also require some type of representation on a board. So if the city has to create its own water board so that there's a representative for the people that don't live in that area so they can have a say and they can have somebody to turn to when they have a problem with their water. Right now they have no one to turn to. I don't appoint anybody. We appoint people to the Grand Strand Water Sewer Board, but they don't have any control over this. So I think it's very important for them to have representation like every other water customer does. How am I doing on time, Carol?
You're doing good.
Okay.
Got 4 minutes.
I'm 4 minutes in?
You're 4 minutes in.
Okay, well, we better hurry up. We want to talk about Santee Cooper real quick and the light poles. The light poles, that's a big issue. And Bob has done a great job of bringing that forward to people. I wasn't aware of the problem until Bob brought it. I don't think anybody was. I think Bob found it digging through some numbers one night. And $7,700 is a lot to pay every month for your lights. However, Santee Cooper isn't alone in taking all the blame on this. Santee Cooper does deserve the blame for locking customers into a bad deal in perpetuity, but our developers put us there. The people who developed this neighborhood, they didn't want to pay for the light poles. Well, we're going to let the HOA pay for it because we're not going to be a part of it anymore. That's not fair. And Santee Cooper and any power company that gets into a deal like that should know that that's not fair. And I think that we're working with Santee Cooper on a track where they're going to give us a break here. If they're not going to give us a break, then we're going to make sure that the neighborhoods can buy their power, they can buy that infrastructure back for themselves and find somebody else to maintain it. What I would like to see moving forward are the new developments that come in, not to allow the developers to make these kind of deals. And I would like to see some type of legislation that would prohibit them from making these deals that go in perpetuity and keep residents paying for years and years and years on end for lights that were paid off
1
years
minute.
and years and years ago. 1 minute left. Okay, I think I got the three big things.
You're-
I'm doing good, okay. At the end of the day, I love representing the people. People call me with issues. I work on them. I don't always go out to the press seeking credit for it. I certainly don't go on social media doing it where there are a lot of evil actors and there are a lot of people with deceptive motives and they want to do different things to you down the road. You won't see me doing that on social media. Write my phone number down. It's on the pieces of paper in the back that you can take home with you. 843-798-7440. It's my cell phone over there. That's my wife, Michelle. Don't call too late or you'll make her mad, which will make her mad at me, so be nice about that. But I'm serious. Call me anytime you have an issue. Some of you in this room have done it. The sign up at the top of Carolina Forest Boulevard, some people say it's ugly, some people like it. I personally kind of like it. It wasn't being taken care of for a long time. I was contacted by people and I saw things on social media. I just picked up the phone and called the developer. Has nothing to do with being a state representative, but if I was able to lend my name to it and encourage them to clean it up, then I'm happy to do it, and it got done. So that's time. Thank you very much. Look forward to your questions.
Okay. Pre-submitted questions that I'd like you both to be able to answer. There's a gun show scheduled to be at the Myrtle Beach Convention Center next weekend. What are your thoughts on that?
Could we perhaps have them both about 6 feet apart up in the front here?
Oh, okay,
every
gentlemen,
time?
if you would please.
Both of them, thanks.
I'm sorry, I'm not used to the video thing.
Could you just repeat the question?
There's a gun show scheduled at the Myrtle Beach Convention Center next weekend. What are your thoughts on that?
Okay, I'm a member of the Oregon Democratic Party Gun Sense Committee, and normally we hold a rally across the street in protest of that, simply because at gun shows, they do some finagling so that they can sell guns without background checks. The vast majority of people in this country, on both sides, Democrat and Republican, agree we should have universal background checks, eliminating the gun show loophole, the internet loophole, and the private sale loophole. I could sell my gun to anybody here, and you don't have to have a background check, because that's a private sale. Right? It's just one of those things to reduce the amount of gun violence. Again, we're not going to solve the problem in its entirety, but let's do what we can. We're not holding a rally this week, this show, because of the pandemic. Nobody wants to be out there with a mask on and have people yelling at them without a mask.
Okay, Tim?
The question, one more time.
There's a gun show scheduled to be at the Myrtle Beach Convention Center next weekend. What are your thoughts on that?
I'm looking for a Walter PPP. Do you think they'll have any?
Next question. Education. Do you think to attract and retain teachers, they should be paying more? If yes, do you agree that taxes should be raised to accomplish this? Tim, you start last time.
And the very
I'm sorry.
beginning, just the very beginning.
In education, do you think to attract and retain teachers, they should be paid more? If yes, do you agree that taxes should be raised to accomplish this?
Yes to the first part, no to the second part. I don't believe state taxes need to be raised to do that. I believe counties are encouraged to look to see if they can. If they can't, then the state can help where the state can. In years like this where we have a budget surplus, we had a budget surplus until March, we can find ways to do that. However, making it law to pay teachers more is something that we were just about ready to do, and then COVID ended our session. But it's something that we're going to pick right back up on. We did pass 3% pay raises for new teachers. We passed pay raises for all teachers up to I think it's almost a 24-year point, step increases. We had to put those step increases on hold because of the pandemic. We didn't pass a new budget. It was in the budget that we were going to pass. I couldn't in good faith support passing a new budget this year, not knowing what COVID's going to do to our economy. The step increases needed to stay. we just couldn't step up right now. It would be like at my house saying we're going to go buy a new big screen TV. I don't know if I'm going to have a job next week, but we need that big screen TV. I mean, we had to put everything that was funded where it was at last year's level and keep it that way till we see what we've got coming in next year. Then, when it makes sense, because we do have the money we thought we were going to have, then let's go forward. It's just the prudent financial way we need to run our state. As for the other, yes, we need to pay our new teachers more, and we have increased that. We plan to keep increasing new teacher pay and teacher pay over the next several years. The goal is to have South Carolina teachers at the national average. I believe it's within the next 5 years. We're already very close to the Southeast average with the pay increase that we've already passed. Yes, our teachers need more money. They're on the front lines. They're doing tough work, and it's not just money they need. It's help in the classroom they need. We're listening to teachers. We're trying to craft legislation that benefits teachers, but most importantly benefits our children, gets them graduating from school to get good jobs. And we're working with our tech schools all the way from 0 through tech schools so we can get our children prepared for jobs, so industries will look at us and not say, we can't move to South Carolina. We can't get anybody to work on, we can't get anybody to build our computers. We can't get anybody to build the batteries. We need to improve education at all costs, and part of that is paying teachers better. Part of that is just putting every dollar that we can into education that makes sense.
All right, Dr.
Sorry,
Fisher?
passion.
I agree with almost everything you just said. Hey, you can't be total. Yes, we need to pay teachers more, and if it comes down to it, yes, we do need to raise taxes. The old adage applies. You get what you pay for. Teachers will work here for a year or two at what's really low pay, and then move on to another state where they can make a living. My son is a teacher in New York City. Good Lord, I don't know why. His wife is a teacher on Long Island in New York. I would love to have them move down here. They can't afford to. Simply can't afford to. Even though the cost of living is so much lower here, they've looked at the numbers. They can't do it. With their student loans, can't do it. So, yeah, I'm willing to pay the taxes. I don't like the idea. I don't want to pay more taxes. But for the schools, yeah, I'll take the hit on that one.
Okay.
Can I make one point? And then, if
We're
you don't
not
mind,
gonna-
do you guys have anywhere to go right now or anything? But I would like to make, if it's okay with you, Dr. Fisher, I'd just like to say one thing, and it's not to rebut anything Dr. Fisher said. However, we can find money without raising taxes. Our tax base is increasing. All of these people who are moving into Horry County are increasing our tax base. The other thing is, there was a study out not too long ago, and I can't tell you the source, but if you want to call me at that number I gave you, I will find it and give it to you. We are 24th, we are, 40, I think it was 43rd in education in the country, and maybe even lower than that, but 43rd. 24th, though, in spending. So we're spending money on education. We're just not spending it in the right places. So there's a lot that needs to be looked at before you even talk about raising taxes. So I just wanted to make that point real quick.
And if I may, I agree with that.
We're not going to debate. We're
No,
not
we're
going
I
to.
don't think we're debating.
If you can
He's a
find
nice
the
guy,
money.
I'll talk to him.
If you can find the money, don't raise taxes. But if you need to raise the taxes, let's do it.
Okay.
The question that was posed, it really doesn't apply tonight, but I'm just going to answer the question. The Postal Way, Carolina Forest Boulevard is a choke point. We need a longer right turn and lane extended to the left-hand turn lane. And CF Boulevard, what is being done to deal with the traffic flow? These are RIDE 3 questions. RIDE 3, an extension of Postal Way is in the plan, and they're doing the engineering work and the easement work to extend Postal Way behind Tanger Outlets. And when they do that, they're going to work on that intersection of Postal Way and Carolina Forest Boulevard with additional acceleration and deceleration lanes.
There's gonna be a roundabout put in, my understanding is what's in the works, is somewhere, along Postal Way before you get to Renee and all the back, there's gonna be a roundabout put in, and there's gonna be a back entrance to the back of Kroger's to get to it.
not, but there is some, a roundabout on the far end, towards Conway, yes.
Not the Parker development. Never mind, sorry, I digress.
Go ahead.
I think the answer to that question though was, it's
The
not
question
really a
is,
state
it's
issue,
under the
it's
RIDE
more of a
program.
county issue. But I will say, RIDE projects, when you see them come up on ballots, way to go on those. RIDE is building this road out here, it built Highway 31, it's great for our community, and the public can have input on the projects that go into the RIDE projects. If you have any chances to go to those public hearings, or if Carol gets the people to speak on them here, go, let your voice be heard, what you think we need to have done in those next, these upcoming RIDE projects.
Our plan is, hopefully, if everything stays and we can become more open, we're hoping to re-invite David Sword and Jason Thompson from Horry County Planning. There's a new, because of the RIDE 3 monies, they're now going to be putting the walkways through on the Plantation Lake side of the boulevard. It's already funded, but the new plans are out there. I've asked David to upload them to me so I could upload them to the website. The positions, the traffic lights, because now there's a new traffic light going in at Plantation Lakes because of that walking path, or bike path. So that's our plan, to have him in one of our meetings in hopefully January. But see, he's not available in January, hopefully February. From what I understand, and Mr. Howard, I think, I don't know if you have something more that you know than I know, but this boulevard widening is still on schedule to be completed in June 2021.
And maybe sooner,
Huh?
and maybe sooner,
Okay, so
it's ahead of schedule.
we're gonna deal with this traffic inconvenience for a while, but the goal is it'll be beautiful. I mean, look at how beautiful 707 turned out with that widening. And I tell you, getting in and out of developments before they finished that widening was horrible. Now I can get down there, you can get in and out of developments by the way they traffic engineered the spacing. Okay. So that question doesn't apply to you all at this point.
Thank you.
What means will you or have you used to communicate bills, votes, or anything communicated through the State House? I guess, Tim, that has to start with you because you're in
I
that.
do post to social media, but I do it.
One second. Carol, could we ask a favor? You're contributing not only the questions, but sometimes substantive to the response. Could I just have you position more up front so we can
Oh,
capture that
I figured
on
I
the
was
tape
out
as
of the
well?
way.
He's calling you a moderator.
So if you could just come up front, thanks.
That's one of the kinder things he calls you.
Yeah, normally it's PIA.
I make frequent posts to Facebook. If you give me a call, 843-798-7440, I'll talk to you. I'm working on next year sending out newsletters, physical newsletters, and I will, you can always call me to get on a list, you can email me, anybody can find my email. I'll communicate it any way you want me to. Again, social media is bad. It's toxic. My hair looked like Sean's here before social media was invented. I don't like it. I think people are the worst versions of themselves on it. The worst versions of themselves on social media. When's the last time you posted something kind on social media? When's the last time you said something nice about somebody on social media? Other than your family, other than your best friend. It's been a while.
Okay.
I don't like it.
Dr. Fisher, did you want to add anything? I mean, I know you're.
I haven't been there.
Okay. All right. Nice, easy question. Why are you running for State House Representative District 56? Doc, you want to take that one as a first?
I think I addressed that in my opening when I talked about gerrymandering. Since this district was created after the 2010 census, no Democrat has ever run in this district. That's what piqued my interest. And since I live in the district, not here in Carolina Forest, I'm way up in the other end, almost to Highway 9. But I thought it would be a good thing to have some competition. And who knows? Maybe, I hate to say, but maybe you change. We'll see.
And the reason I ran, the reason I'm running, I love my community. I have lived here for only 11 years. I think you may have lived here longer. I'm sure many of you have lived here longer, but this is home. This is the only home my children have really known. They're just 13 and 14 right now. They go to school here. I would like to retire here. And I would like them to come home and visit and be proud to come and visit me in Carolina Forest. I think we all want that. I think we want a place that we're proud of. And we're working on it. If they didn't do such a good job when they planned all of this out. We all wanted to come down here. We wanted to move here because South Carolina is beautiful. South Carolina has great taxes. South Carolina has a lot going for it. Carolina Forest has a lot going for it. We just have to work on it. And we're doing that. You're seeing improvements with the roads. You're going to see improvements over the years. We're working on things. And I think we're great now, but I think our best days are ahead of us. And I'm going to ask my wife, I'm an eternal optimist. If you have Apple TV, go home and watch the show Ted Lasso. I'm kind of like this Ted Lasso character. I'm enthusiastic. I don't approach things pessimistically. I think I try to look for what's the good in this? What can we bring out of this and make this work? When Bob called me about the streetlights, what could we do with it? When I hear about the water situation, not, oh well, that's really stinks, but the city says they're not going to do anything about it. What can we do to make this better for people? When somebody doesn't like their situation, let's try to improve it. If we can't improve it, let's ask why can't we improve it, and do we need to change the very system itself, which is a lot harder to do. In Columbia, you're one of 124 people in the State House. So you can be one person and go against 123 other people. You think you're going to get anything done? Not a darn thing. But if you build relationships, you get things done. Those of you who are successful in business in here, those of you who admire great leaders, I think you're admiring people who know how to build good relationships, and that's what I'm working on. I want to build good relationships to make this place better, but I also want to work with you to make this place better, because this is home. My number's 843-798-7440. Have I mentioned that? Don't call me after midnight.
Okay, voting has become too easy. How can you reverse the liberalization of the voting process because some folks who vote early also vote often and other reasons? Actually, well, no, I can't say anything. Who wants to address it first?
I'll give it a shot.
Okay.
I don't believe there's any such thing as not having enough opportunity to vote. That's what this country was based on. Let me rephrase that. We used to have only male property owners voting, and then males without property, African Americans, then women. The last group, women. Voting should be easy, not difficult. Right? I'm not happy with what I hear from our current federal administration about them wanting to make voting more difficult. That just makes no sense at all to me. Each of us should have one vote, it should count, and at the end of the day, we'll tally them up and see what we've got.
Okay. Tim?
I think voting is a right and voting is a privilege. The day you vote, is a holiday every year. This year's an exception. And in the General Assembly, we worked hard to make sure that we could do the best for South Carolinians as we could with the absentee voting system, and I think we did. I think we have a good system. I don't know how many people have voted over at the library, but I haven't yet. I'm going to hold off for November 3rd. But my mother-in-law has, several people I've spoken to have. They say it's very quick and it's very seamless. I wouldn't want to go any further than what we have right now, though. I think that the way we're voting right now is good. I think that we need to have strong local election boards that are capable and can make sure that nobody is trying to pull one over on the system. And when something is pulled over on the system, the person who tries it or the group that tries it is held responsible. And we find out how they were able to penetrate it, and we prevent that from happening again. This is what separates us from a lot of other countries. This is what makes us great, is our process, is that we get to pick a new leader every 2, every 4, every 6 years. So we need to protect it, but at the same time, particularly during this time of COVID, I like the fact that people who may not be able to go on the day, or people who may not feel safe going on the day, yet still want to do it in person without having to go through too many hoops, can do it. So let's not change it too much more than we've already changed it, I guess is my.
Has everyone voted here today? Or has everyone voted yet? Anyone not vote yet? Okay, library's open.
How many people have voted twice?
Monday to Friday, I think, 10 to 4:30, if I remember right? 8:30 to 4? Okay, thank you. So there's no reason not to get out and vote. You mean, he's saying it's a right, it's a privilege, well, it's also a responsibility.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know, I can't read the writing. Something indicate 80% of our state's 42,000 miles of roads need repair or resurfacing. 465 of the 750 bridges need repair. As of September, only 11% have been done. Reaction to that?
Yep, we've known that for a long time. There was a big fight before I got to Columbia over raising the gas tax. And this is why I won't sign any tax pledges. I don't believe in raising taxes. I think we need to keep taxes as low as we can, and when possible, never raise them at all. But in the case of the gas tax, we needed to raise it because our roads were falling into disrepair. There was a study done when I was in a different job where I read the news and talked about it would take, I think it was I want to say, and I think I'm going low here, $1 billion a year for the next 20 years to get our roads from bad condition up to average condition. So, I mean, this is not a cheap deal. This is something that's good, and we have a lot of state roads in South Carolina, a lot of state bridges in South Carolina. We've got a lot of work to do. I was hoping that our budget surplus would have been what we were looking at. We were going to be able to give a lot of money back to the local government fund, so counties would be able to take that money and improve roads in their counties, improve roads in their cities. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like that's going to happen this year, but I think wherever we can, you know, we have so many things that we want to put all the money to, education, to roads. I mean, there's so many things that need our attention, but our roads are really critical. I lived in Georgia for a lot of my life, and you could always tell when you came into South Carolina when you crossed I-95. You could tell it when you cross I-17 going into North Carolina. You know you're in a different state. You know which state has the better roads. We need to change that. It doesn't look good.
And Dr. Fisher?
Yeah, I'm big on safety. You heard me talk about gun safety, about the COVID, the health situation. If our roads, and especially our bridges and our dams, they pose danger. They need to be inspected. They need to be repaired or replaced, as the case may be. I don't want to stand here and sound like the guy who wants to raise everybody's taxes, but you get what you pay for. If we don't have enough inspectors to inspect these things, they're not going to get fixed. If we don't have the finances to support the work that needs to be done, it's not going to get done. And unsafe conditions will continue to be present. Again, I'm not advocating raising taxes. I'm saying it might become necessary at some point.
Okay. Those are the pre-submitted questions. Dr. Fisher and Mr. McGinnis will stay here and answer any other questions that you might have. You can come up and talk to them one-on-one. Bob Sweet's going to stick around if you have any questions on the Santee Cooper issues. I'd like to, any other comments? Did we miss anything, board members? Okay, well, I want to thank you all for coming tonight. I appreciate it. I know these are new and trying times. Our next meeting will be November 18th here, 7 o'clock again, and we will have our annual meeting and our election of officers. Any questions, you can go onto the website and tag us.
Thank you, Civic Association.
Thanks for being here.